Run With Chestnut.
Welcome to the Run With Chestnut podcast. Today we're talking about everything to do with cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, mining,
Minecraft.
I'm telling you, Simon. That cough. I'm acknowledging it right now. But like,
What cough?
That's true. What cough? no, we're just never. No, never mind. You're absolutely right. Let's just never acknowledge it. Anyway, yes, everything to do with cryptocurrency. So, Simon.
Yes.
Do you know what a cryptocurrency is?
No, I do not.
Okay. You ever heard of Bitcoin?
No.
Do you know what mining is?
No.
You don't know what mining is?
No.
Like a dwarf with a pickaxe?
What?
I've been working on the railroad.
Okay. So, for a little backstory, I got lost in many rabbit holes of crypto and mining the last few weeks. And so, if you want to learn something, best way to learn it is to teach it, right? So, we are going to teach Simon today about crypto and mining. And the reason why I preface it with that is I am by no means an expert, but I did some Googling, and obviously if you know how to Google, you know how to make yourself a semi-expert on anything. So without further ado, basics on crypto, basically what it is, how you get it, different ways people use it, how you keep it safe, keep it secret, keep it safe. Anyone who knows that reference, good job. If you don't know the reference, then shame on you. Andrew, do you know that reference?
I am shamed.
I am shamed as well.
Yeah, but you're not into fantasy, so I don't blame you.
Okay.
Cool. Andrew, how would you describe Bitcoin to Simon?
Bitcoin.
Oh, by the way, that the voice you hear is Andrew.
Yes.
Say hi, Andrew. Okay, Simon's
I am
on the
back
line.
again.
Hello.
Okay, and I am Francesco. Anyway, so Andrew.
Right. So
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
It's a bit of a
I didn't
coin.
do my homework. Can I pass?
Okay.
So
Cryptocurrencies are currencies that are not attached to. They're basically internet currencies, right? Or they're not currencies attached to government. So like a US dollar, Canadian dollar, right? Those are quote unquote like fiat currencies, which are basically currencies tied to a specific country or national bank or institution. Make sense? Cryptocurrencies in general are currencies that are not fiat currencies, right? They are their own commodity, basically, that you can trade parts of that commodity, and that commodity holds value because of the fact that obviously it's a commodity, which means there's a limited amount, right? Anything that has a limited amount technically has value that you can be traded, right? Like this goes back to like
so you're saying there are a limited amount of cryptocurrencies?
Yes.
Okay.
So Bitcoin is probably the most famous cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin is like the name of a currency, just like US dollar is the name of a currency.
Okay.
Makes sense? So Bitcoin, it's famous enough that you can literally you can trade Bitcoin on like Robinhood, which is like an investment app, or like the Cash app through Square. You can get like this. It's like a currency. Go ahead.
Some places in London even let you use Bitcoin to like purchase things.
Yeah, well, so we'll get into this in a bit, but you can actually get a Visa card, like a debit card, that connects to your Bitcoin account, so that you can literally walk into any shop in the world that accepts like Visa cards, and you can pay with Bitcoin, pretty much. And that's apparently that's like a pretty recent thing within the last year or so. So like that's making it a lot easier to actually use Bitcoin as a currency, not US dollars or anything else like that. But anyway, okay, so cryptocurrencies, we covered what that is, right? Where is it stored? Anyone have a guess? Like obviously US dollars, right? You have either printed out paper notes in your wallet, or you have a bank account that you deposit, I guess, US dollars into. So like, where would you store Bitcoin?
Somewhere on the web.
I'll tell your computer, right? Probably your computer.
So I'm glad you asked, Andrew. There are two different types of wallets. There are hot wallets and cold wallets.
Oh.
And hot wallets are basically wallets that are on the internet or have access to the internet. So like a website or a digital wallet, like an app on your phone, is called a hot wallet. And a cold wallet is actually something that is not connected to the internet. So something like a flash drive. Like they make hard wallets. There's a company called like Ledger and then Trezor, I think. They make these like little hard drive looking things, or it has like a little screen on it. And it's this device. It's like a mini phone.
Oh, wow.
And it's completely not connected to the internet, which means it's not susceptible to being hacked, right? Which is a whole like problem. Mm-hmm. Like the whole thing with this is like people hack you to steal your Bitcoin, basically. But so you store it in these wallets. And the idea is you store like a majority of your wealth in these hard wallets that are not connected to the internet. And then you store like a few $100s worth of Bitcoin in a hot wallet, which is like a lot easier and more convenient to spend.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because if it's like a hard wallet, it's like you have to actually transfer it over from the device to your phone to then pay for something, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay. Any questions so far, Simon?
Not yet.
Anything you're confused about?
No.
Okay. How do you actually get how do you make Bitcoin?
By following the path of my ancestors and mining away at the railroad and
your ancestors.
Totally.
Like American or like Chinese ancestors?
No, yes, yes, the 49ers. Anyways, what is it? It's data mining essentially, isn't it? Or
yes. Please say more.
So the way I understand it is that you have various programs out there with which that you could just leave it running on your computer, and depending on the amount of processing power available to you, you can devote processing power to these programs, and they will mine code for you, as in they'll derive code that is what Bitcoin is based on.
So mining is like processing?
Yeah, you're basically, so it's all contributing to formulating these, like you're adding to the blockchain by adding your whatever processing power you have in running all these like proof of work equations. And proof of work basically just means there's proof of work per se, that's whatever. Forget I said that. That's more comes later. But basically, whatever device that has processing power can basically run these, a ton, like thousands, hundreds, thousands, millions, whatever, of these little processes or equations that will all add, and that's how you make Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency, right?
Okay.
Because and so you can either do that processing yourself, or you rent out your device's processing power to someone else and get paid in cryptocurrencies.
That's a little tricky.
So,
okay.
Like, if it's like, okay, all I want is I just want to make money. Well, then those two the difference doesn't really matter, because either way you're making Bitcoin, right? Okay. Whether you actually are the one in the mining pool, which a mining pool is basically just like a group of machines that are working towards the same thing.
Okay.
Whether you're in the mining pool yourself, like controlling it, or you're just renting out your processing power to someone else and just getting paid for like the use of it. Either way, like you're getting paid in Bitcoin.
So this is all machines that you have to get then. Like it's not on your computer.
No, this is any machine that has that has ability to process. So the most basic of that is, and actually I'm pretty sure like where it started, is CPU mining, which every single laptop and desktop in the world has a CPU.
Okay, so then my Mac has it.
Literally every computer has a CPU.
Okay.
It developed from CPU mining to GPU mining, which is graphics processing, right? CPU central processing unit, GPU's graphics processing unit. GPU mining, just because the GPU is more geared towards tackling a larger number of things or like processes, right?
Okay.
Like that's what a GPU does. In terms of like, that's how it processes graphics. So if you have a GPU, which a lot of computers that are like gaming oriented have GPUs because of the graphics.
Oh yeah.
If you have a GPU, then you can mine more effectively. So like I think like a common, if you do like CPU mining, you'd make like 50 cents a day or something like that. On like a, average, obviously it differs what computer you have. On a GPU, you'd make like $1 or $2 a day, I think. Maybe a little less. But it's like considerably more, right? And then you have ASIC miners, which are basically these machines purposely, like all they do is mine. It's like this came out afterward, like later on. And so that's like the next level up. And the next level up from ASIC miners is basically these massive like industrial computer farms or data, I guess, farms where you have like hundreds or thousands of these, individual like server grade or I guess industrial grade chips all working toward. We're talking like these massive warehouse size things all working towards. Just think like, 10,000 desktop computers just like all next to each other. Just, you know what I mean?
Like a bunch of fridges.
Yeah. Like it's insane. If you ever seen one of these things, like the type of cooling, even just the cooling that it takes to run all these machines at like max output, it's pretty intense. But so it got really popular because you can literally do this on an existing computer. Like you don't have, you know what I mean? Like the whole point of like where this came from is anyone in their basement with a computer can technically mine cryptocurrency.
Right.
And if you did this a few years ago, you could actually make a good fat stack of cash. Like right now, like in 2020, you definitely will not make as much as you could have, 5-8 years ago.
Yeah. It's actually funny. I think, what was it? The statistic is that like it went up by like 70% or something when everybody started staying home from the pandemic.
It went up, but also, so you have what's called like currency halving, which is again, like kind of complicated, but basically
like
every set number of years, I think it's like 3 years or something, Bitcoin will, there's half as many available and it's twice as hard to get them or so, you know what I mean? Like as Bitcoin progresses, it gets increasingly harder to mine and there's less of it being produced. So it literally gets exponentially harder and harder and harder to make a profit off of mining.
Yeah.
Like the cryptocurrency, the longest. Yeah. So to the point where like you literally could have been making that like a fat stack of cash if you were like one of the first ones.
Wow.
Versus right now, there's so many people doing it and there's so many like huge like computer plants doing it that.
How'd it come up?
I don't know the story of the guy who like started it or anything like that. I know it started, well, mainstream, I guess, started like 2012-ish. Like that's when it really started to steamroll, I guess.
Oh yeah. People were talking about it and I was super skeptical. It's just currency. To me, it looked like currency with just no backing, which was always
right. So do you know, Simon, do you know the difference between a currency that's backed and a currency that's not?
No.
You want to explain that, Andrew?
It's like we have faith in the dollar. Like currency works when people can trust it. And do you know what traditionally what the American dollar was originally backed by, Simon?
No.
So the units of measurement for our dollar and stuff like that it was all originally based on gold. Pre 1900s, I think everyone basically used a gold standard. But later
all the way
on
up to I believe it was Nixon in 71. I think I could be off by a few years, but yeah, basically all the way up until a few decades ago, we were on the gold standard.
Okay.
But now you have all of these things coming out, and cryptocurrency is a prime example of that. And that you don't necessarily need something as material as gold to back it. You can back it with other things like just the inherent value that people put into it.
And hard set commodity. I mean, like, for example, with, right now it's 2020, right? There's a lot of stimulus money being like being put out into the economy. If our currency was gold backed, we couldn't do that. Because every X amount of money that we as in the U.S. government would like put out into the economy would have to have a certain amount of gold, like literal, gold, the metal stored.
Like, I don't want this paper currency. Give me the gold instead. Like that's
like it would. Yes, like a dollar would have gold that ensured its value. Like you can't just print more money.
But now just because we have other things that are in value.
No. So in those few decades ago, we basically disconnected the dollar from any sort of gold or backing.
Okay.
Which means that the only thing that is ensuring the dollar's value right now is our perceived value in it.
Yeah. People trusting it and
people trust the dollar.
Like, I have a dollar. My neighbor also believes that this is a dollar. Therefore, it is a dollar.
Exactly.
That's okay.
So, like, faith in the dollar. So, for example, like a story of this, but like a story that went wrong, is a country with massive amounts of inflation. Right, like a country where, where it's like Zimbabwe or like any, even like Venezuela, stuff like that. Like, for example. You go out today and like you buy a loaf of bread for $2.
Yeah.
You go out tomorrow and all of a sudden that loaf of bread's you got to pay $20, $50, $100.
Right.
Like inflation, right? That's basic.
Yeah.
Inflation. All that means is the value of the currency goes way down.
Right.
Yeah.
If that currency is backed with something such as gold, it doesn't really move because that gold is there to ensure what it's worth.
Okay.
But if you disconnect the backing commodity from the currency, then it's like, who says it's worth anything? Like maybe $1's worth 1,000.
Right.
Like, so the only thing that's holding that stable right now for us in this economy, in this world, is the trust. People's just trust in the dollar.
Isn't that kind of bad though? Isn't that going to backfire eventually somehow?
Yeah, I'm sure pumping trillions of dollars into the economy is going to backfire eventually, but we're not really worried about that right now, right?
Oh, God.
No, either way, we'd be in debt. So
that's that. Let's save that for another. That's a whole other episode.
Whole other conversation.
Anyway, but the whole thing back to cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrency is actually commoditized because there is only a certain amount out there, and the person who invented, let's say, Bitcoin can't just go out and print more.
Right.
Like there is literally only a certain amount of Bitcoin.
And there's a process.
There's a process to get more. And that process is also like controlled and commoditized, basically. That's why a lot of people feel that Bitcoin, like if you have $10,000, right? Is it safer to keep that in US dollars in a checking account, or is it safer to keep that in $10,000 worth of Bitcoin? Right. That's like the story or the question. And not a lot of people, some people feel that it's safer to keep it in Bitcoin because Bitcoin's more likely to retain its value, unlike the US dollar, which is a super stable currency, but still has inflation and all that.
Based on the government and what happens in the world.
Right.
All these trade deals and all that.
Never mind that Bitcoin is continuously fluctuating up and down in the markets, but still.
Yeah, Bitcoin.
So I have historically and actually still am a bit skeptical in Bitcoin as an investment vehicle, right? Like I think like if my choice is, do I want to own Bitcoin as an investment vehicle, or do I want to own a part of like an American company or a business? I'll always choose the business because I feel like it's a lot safer to do that. The potential of it exploding is higher, obviously. Well, if you pick the right business, it's more tangible. And honestly, I just understand it better, right? Like I just know it better.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are people investing in Bitcoin as if they would invest in an American business, like in the stock market kind of thing. Like they buy Bitcoin on this as if it was a stock.
Somehow it makes more sense to them, I guess, or just I guess they would know more about how Bitcoin works.
You would hope that they would know more about what.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
no
easy for
kidding.
me to say I won't do that just because, like, I don't, I literally found out all this stuff recently.
Right.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that I'm not super confident in it.
But who knows what will happen in a few years down the line. But yeah.
For sure.
So
Though apparently China's super into blockchain, so that's a whole new can of worms.
that's we'll see what happens with that. Also, I don't know if you know this, Simon. So Bitcoin is one currency, right? In the crypto world, there are more than 1,500 currencies.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot.
In crypto, yes.
Wow, okay.
Yes. And okay, so basic terminology, you have the hot and cold wallets, right? Which we talked about.
Yes.
You have what's called a currency exchange or a cryptocurrency exchange, which is basically a website where you can trade for different cryptocurrencies and also like fiat currencies, meaning like US dollars.
Okay.
Like,
So-
I'll give you 2 Bitcoin for this Raven.
Yeah. Well, that'd be a smoking deal. Well, depending on which side you were on. But you meant like a bird raven or raven coin? Because there's actually a coin
No,
called.
Raven coin.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say. Like, I'm pretty sure you.
No.
Okay,
I'm not selling a Raven.
that's an expensive raven, bro. Like too big. That's like almost $20,000. Like that's a pretty expensive
no
bird.
kidding.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So basically, the path of if you wanted to buy a Bitcoin, right? Is you can like you make an account at these currency exchanges. Also, because it's so popular right now, there's so many scams out there. In terms of like, there's literally a lot, like so many people getting hacked, and because like you put in your email in a website that you think is the right one, but it actually isn't the right one. Just a lot of So anyone listening, or you too, also just be careful, right? Don't be careful. But anyway, you'd make an account on a currency exchange, and the I would say the two, like, or the biggest one is called what's it called? Coinbase. It's Coinbase.com. And you make an account there, and you can connect your checking account, or even like PayPal or something like that, and you transfer over money, like dollars, and then with that dollars you buy whatever currency you want, say like Bitcoin, right?
Yep.
And then you have the choice of either leaving your Bitcoin on that exchange, on Coinbase, let's say, which is very frowned upon, because if you leave it on there, you basically don't have the keys, let's say, quote unquote, right, keys to that currency, meaning you don't actually have that currency, because each currency is connected to let's say like these digital keys that let you recover it wherever you go. So like, unlike paper, like if you rip up $100 bill, you lost that 100, right?
Right.
If you like put that crypto on your phone or something, if you lose your phone, all you need are those keys.
Right.
That will let you recover it or back it up. Because each code of Bitcoin, let's say, I mean, I'm like super butchering this, but like each code of Bitcoin is attached to, it's traced, like it's attached to you.
Okay.
It's trackable, kind of like, it's like serialized, I guess. Well, it's trackable is questionable, but it's serialized basically.
Right.
So you would transfer it off of Coinbase into either a hot wallet, like, an app on your phone. Like a popular one is called Trust. It's called the Trust wallet. Or a cold wallet, which is like that little device I was telling you about, right?
Right.
And so the way you would pay people, like say like I wanted to give you Bitcoin, right?
Yep.
Inside of everyone's wallets, so like the Trust wallet, for example, there is what's called a wallet address. And so you would have to, if I want to give you Bitcoin, you would like text me or email or whatever, tell me your wallet address, and I would send it to it just as if I was sending it to your like PayPal via email. Like I would put your little wallet address in there and then be like, all right, send Simon, 1 Bitcoin, and then you could hit send and it'll like send to your wallet basically.
Oh, okay.
There's been a lot of like advancements made to like make it more usable. Like you can like scan people's phones now, and obviously they're like we were talking about at the beginning, you can have like these debit cards that basically are attached to your like to Bitcoin that you can pay with like at any store. So it's cool. I mean, it's definitely if it's become more usable and more mainstream. Like I feel like a lot more people than are talking. Like it used to be that like gamer nerds were talking about Bitcoin, right? And that's about it.
Yeah.
Like, versus now, like you have people who haven't even played, has never played a video game or like anything, talking about Bitcoin, which is fun. I mean, it's cool. It just spread of knowledge, right? It's good.
Right.
Yeah, and I have a friend who literally to visit him and at his place in London, he said, "Why don't you just pay me in Bitcoin?" And I'm like, "Oh boy, I need to do my research on this, make sure that I'm not making any mistakes here."
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts, Simon?
It seems interesting. I don't know if I'd ever get into it. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever get into it. It's too...
Well, also, you don't have a computer or like you don't have the hardware. You have like a laptop.
Yes.
Right. I think like the big appeal for a lot of people, which actually this part appealed to me, is being able to just passively make a small amount of income.
Exactly. Like
just on stuff you already have.
It is the appeal, but like you also have to ask, do you want to put all the work into it?
But again, what work? It's literally passive income. It's just working in the background.
You just have to pay your electricity bill.
Yeah, like you're basically trading you're trading your electricity bill for this income.
Oh.
So even if you only make say like $1 or $2 a day, right? Say at the end of the year it's like $600, let's say.
Right.
That's basically that's depending on what phone you have, that's a new phone every year, right? Like that you
Sure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's the people. I get why people are attracted to it.
Right. Do you think you're gonna do it?
I will not. I will definitely have some sort of. So there's a mining app, and granted, I'm very new at looking all into this, but there's one called nicehash.com, and it's basically a miner that it'll bench test your computer, and then it'll mine the currency that is most effective for what you have, basically, and what's more profitable, like in the moment.
Right.
And it'll pay you in Bitcoin. So like you basically don't have to do any work. Like you don't have to calculate what's more profitable, doing Bitcoin or Ethereum, which is another coin, or Raven coin, or this or that. Like it just does it all for you, and then it just pays you in Bitcoin. So I'll definitely have something like that just running in the background.
Cool.
And if it makes me if it makes me a few $100 a year, then like fuck it, it's great.
Cool.
It's a few $100 I didn't have before,
Exactly.
But then again, like how much would that stuff cost? Like the hardware or?
Dude, it's your it's your computer.
Just a free downloadable.
It's an app on your computer.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Like you literally go to nicehash.com, hit download, and it downloads, and you install it, and it runs, and that's it.
Oh, okay. So that's good.
Yeah. So, and again, there's people who buy like these massive machines that, like ASIC miners, but like we're not really talking about that, right? We're talking about just plain CPU, GPU mining.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Any closing thoughts?
Do you think I could name a currency after myself?
What would you name it, Andrew?
The Andrew coin.
Because you cannot call it Andrew coin.
Why?
No, you cannot call it Andrew coin.
But Andrew coin has such a nice ring to it.
It really doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It totally does.
No.
The Drew coin.
Drew coin sounds more realistic than Andrew coin. Especially if you spell Drew coin DRUCOIN.
Yeah, there you go. I could go.
You make it marked like DRU, yeah. Or DRUE.
Definitely.
That's a little too much.
Returning. Definitely returning. I don't know.
Definitely. Oh, what it stands for?
Yes.
Definitely returning. Undulating equity.
Sure, let's go with that. I don't know why it's got to undulate.
No. Definitely return under equity.
Yeah, that's great for marketability.
Currency that's guaranteed to fail.
Everybody likes an underdog.
Oh my god. I mean, okay, if you want to be nice about it, definitely return universal equity.
Sure.
Yeah, or dogs really underestimate
Coin.
elephants.
Oh my god.
Coin. Okay, this episode
Anyway.
is taking a
Yeah,
very
there you
strong
go.
downturn.
Closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts. I will definitely mine passively. I will not use it as a place to actually move US dollars over to as an investment.
Oh no,
But-
neither.
Yeah, but I will strongly consider putting a miner on my machines to passive to generate just to like experiment too, just to see like
Yeah.
what it's all about.
I mean, my laptop's on all the time already as it is. Listening to
That's the crazy part. It's
podcasts.
like you have it anyway.
Yeah,
Why not?
Right.
Like it literally costs you
Nothing to do.
Yeah.
yeah.
All you gotta do is pay your electric bill, which like it it's you're still making money on it. So
Exactly.
Right.
there we go. That's cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. Dude, we need to do a future episode on just like not wireless, but like internet security.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about that before.
Yeah, especially with all like because there's been a lot of hacking going on, especially because everyone's working remotely.
Right.
Even just something basic as like someone sending you like a faulty Amazon email or something. You know what I mean? Just some basic internet.
Or just people
Security
saying,
and
here's
passwords
a part-time job and
Or
Yeah.
the email username to your new Pornhub account, which I don't remember setting up.
yeah.
okay, Andrew.
Hey, we are. I am a Nigerian banker, and please wire me a sum of $20,000 US.
You sure about that? You sound really American.
Oh my god. Anyway,
Yeah. So there you go. Well, we'll do that. We'll do that episode at some point in the future. It'll be good.
Sure.
Cool. Any closing thoughts, guys? Nope. That was a closing thought. All right. Cool.
Yes.
cool. All right.
Goodbye, everybody.
I want hash
Goodbye.
browns now.
Go hash browns. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
You can go to the website of this podcast and you can see a picture of a hash brown. Go to runwithchestnut.com and just look at there may or may not be a picture of a hash brown. If there's not, you can send Andrew an angry message on some sort of platform and we'll keep pushing.
I ate it all.
Okay, he ate it all. All right, goodbye.
Goodbye.